first thing. Favorite there, Jimmy.
I check in the clay court section of the draw there. Correcia and then Zavaleta. Somehow the clay quarters did well in that section.
There's Andrei Pavel, 25 years of age, turned pro back in 1990, so he's been out there a while. Ranked number 50 in the world, 6-4 this year. Pretty good record in '99. We said he's reached 2 finals in Munich, which was outdoors on clay, and in Den Bosch, which is grass court event. And you could see his '99 record on carpet, which is indoor surface that we play on here. Andrei Agassi is looking as fresh and eager as ever. Man from Las Vegas, #1 in the world. 53-12 this year.
Pretty good record, I'd say. 5-1 indoors as well, and carpet 4-1. Pretty good, obviously, on every surface this year for Agassi.
Pavel set to start. Head-to-head, Agassi up 2-0, crushed him in Wimbledon this year. Starting off fairly cleanly, sending a bit of a message to Pavel.
That seems to be the biggest problem for anybody that plays Andrei Agassi that doesn't have a huge serve, is that you're under the gun right from the start. Return of serve so aggressive. So Pavel tries to throw in a serve and volley to stem that tide.
Well, already he's gotten him out of his game because Pavel is not a serve volleyer.
No, he's not. Trying something different at love 15 in the first set.
30. Swinging serve out wide.
15-30.
15-30. Also played actually here last year, Jimmy, Agassi and Pavel. That was a 3-setter. Pavel won Agassi. 3rd round here in Stuttgart last year.
15-30.
The problem for Pavel is he started off slowly against Agassi, both matches losing 6-1. And this year, Agassi's so confident that once he turned that around, he was able to do it last year and win the 2nd set, as you said, in a tiebreak.
Break point. That's what you'll see from Pavel. He's a good shot maker from the back of the court. Probably a little more dangerous with that forehand, Jimmy.
He has a lot of talent, Pavel. He can hit any shot. He can come in as well, but both ground strokes can be aggressive. The problem is he going to have time to hit them against Andrei Agassi?
Still break point for Agassi. Deep first serve there. Agassi just catching the tape.
This is actually an important game for Pavel to get on the board early. Try to get rid of some of those nerves and not be behind.
For time, Agassi.
Line. That's what Agassi does on his game, which he's been on all year, is that he just puts pressure on you to go for shots really out of your range. Break point number 3. Beautiful backhand up the line, and just seems that with each match that Agassi wins, he wants to keep winning. He gets an early break. This quarterfinal from the Eurocard Open. Only a tale of 2 different players here with Agassi and Pavel as we see their rankings throughout this year. And the rise of Agassi there, Jimmy.
Well, they both sort of rose and fell at the same time. It's just little different numbers. Agassi usually in the single digits.
Pavel between sort of the 40s and 70s. Pavel finished last year in the top 100 for the first time in his career at 66. #1 player from Romania.
As you said, Pavel's been around for a while, but really last year was his breakthrough year where he finally broke into these level of tournaments on the ATP Tour, and he's kept it going this year pretty well. Had a win over Kafelnikov earlier in the year, and you get a look at Agassi with the big inside-out forehand.
All.
15-30.
A few times you see Agassi have to back up. Good return from Pavel.
Surprisingly, Agassi went for a clean winner from that far back. Tried to really flatten out that forehand. Shows you how confident he feels right now.
Beide.
The different shape of their shots for these two players. Pavel rolling the ball with a little bit of topspin. Agassi just pounding it flat deep into the court. Gotta like the chances of the guy pounding it flat and deep.
Particularly if you can do it with the same consistency. Second game, 30-all. Few forehand errors creeping into the Agassi arsenal in this game.
30-40.
And although he's known for his forehand, I've always thought his backhand, Agassi's backhand, is the side that's more solid. He can hit winners from that side, and he makes a few less errors. The forehand, when it's on, is awesome, but he can miss a few.
Break point for Pavel. And the second serve. Well, that time he connects on the forehand.
That's the awesome one.
Also the ability of Agassi now to raise his game on the bigger points, Jimmy. That just comes from confidence, doesn't
Well, that's
it?
really what it's all about. As far as every match comes down to a few big points, and Agassi this year has had the goods every time.
You know, we were talking before the matches started today, Jimmy, and you were mentioning that match that Agassi played with Clement at the French Open, second round match. And you said, hey, if Agassi hadn't have won that match, it could have been a completely different year for him. But he did pull that out. He was 2 points away from losing it.
Well, exactly right. Agassi had not done well in a Grand Slam in quite a few number of years, and you had the feeling he just couldn't get it done in the big tournaments anymore, in the big matches. All of a sudden, he got through that match, won the French.
And then came back from a set and 2 breaks down against Moya at the French as well. And since then, it's been a dream. Game point, Agassi.
Yep. Einstein.
Agassi having a bit of a loose game here in the second game. This match, a few forehand errors, a double fault there. Pavel needs to take advantage.
As our host broadcaster's computer-generated shot of that serve, which was definitely wide.
Vorteil. Agassi.
Agassi comes right back with a good, solid first serve. Game point again for Agassi. Oh, there's the shot making for Pavel, using the pace of the Agassi forehand there.
Pavel definitely has some talent. He's got a lot of weapons. But what the one weapon he's missing that he needs to beat Agassi is a huge serve. Get some free points on his serve.
Back to deuce. What else is he missing, Pavel? Because we both think he has the talent off the ground. Doesn't have, obviously, the big serve. But what else do you think he's missing, Jimmy, that's kept him really between 50 and 70, 80 in the world?
Well, I think the difference for most of these players is mental at that stage in the game. He's got a lot of shots. The big serve hurts because players with a big serve get so many free points. Life is much easier when you're getting those free points. He has to earn the points he wins.
What a point there. Pavel played as well as he could in that point. Agassi just rock solid.
Well, I was about to say, Pavel shows you the talent he has from the baseline, how tough he can be. He was ripping the ball, takes that backhand early, looked to be in great shape, and look at this last second, just flick of the wrist. from Agassi. Able to control the pace on that shot and perfect down the line.
Amazing he could keep his balance because that ball from Pavel had a lot of pace on it. 2-love Agassi. And Pavel already.
Well, you can see how dejected he looks because he's thinking, what do I have to do here to win points? Playing about as well as I can in these rallies. Agassi just one shot better.
Pavel was up to as high as 43 this year back in July. Again, Agassi all over the serve. And just looking to steamroll. And Agassi will want to waste no time. Incredibly efficient in the way he's playing this week.
What a return there, even on a ball that was long. Agassi just ripped it. There you see an example of the shot-making ability of Pavel. He hit a nice backhand approach down the line and came up with some good touch on the drop volley. And Agassi not willing to give away any points. Full sprint, but couldn't quite handle the drop volley from Pavel.
15-30. Tried another one, but you know, it's the way that Agassi scrambled after that last one, Jimmy. I remember that at the French Open so well. Agassi scraping balls out and playing defensive tennis that has really given him, I think, so much confidence. And it showed the other players how fit and how motivated he is.
Exactly, how fit he is, because he's willing to run after every ball, no matter how minute his chances of getting there. And that gets into your opponent's head after a while.
I think it's already in Pavel's head after 2 games. 2 more break points for Agassi. What a forehand, and Agassi sprinting to the sideline just like he was doing at this year's U.S. Open. And he's off and running early in this one. 2 breaks to Agassi, first set. Agassi matches these days, Steffi Graf. Hanging out with Andrei over in Stuttgart. 3-love Agassi. On Sunday, ESPN brings you coverage of the last kart race of the season. The 500 at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Defending champion Jimmy Vasser will be challenged by rookie sensation Juan Montoya. For more racing, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, Go.com. 3 p.m. Sunday, Eastern Time on ESPN. Steffi Graf's been making her first public appearance in the sort of Agassi camp here in Stuttgart. She's even out hitting a few balls with Andrei on this court here in Stuttgart. People are pretty happy about that in Germany.
She has been, although she's moved her seating arrangements from right next to Brad Gilbert, the coach, to a little bit off to the side on her own.
We know how much Brad enjoys to banter during the match, so maybe Steffi a little more the quiet type. Look at that movement from Agassi and getting under that ball.
30-love.
Number 1's in the 1999 Sampras for 24 weeks. Agassi for 10. Kafelnikov, Moya, Rafter. First time we've had this many players at 1 in 1 year, but it's going to be Agassi unless something incredible happens at number 1 when the year's over in the official rank. He's number 1 in my book no matter what, but in the official rankings it looks like Agassi will be 1 as well.
What's funny about that is Moya and Rafter are both in the teens now. They were number 1 at certain point in this year, but both players have dropped, and Moya probably dropping even further
Right,
by the end of the year.
Especially after his final appearance at the World Championships last year, losing Alex Kodecha. Both those guys will really plummet because they're not really in the running to make the World Championships.
40-15.
Moya, by the way, out of this event here with injury, pulled out.
40-15.
Patrick Rafter underwent shoulder surgery this week in Australia as we see that torque from Agassi. Rafter hoping to be back for the Australian Open starting in January, but will miss the Davis Cup final with Australia and France. There's an Agassi-like return from Pavel.
Pavel knows he has to take a few chances out here if he wants to have any chance of winning this match. So he took that forehand return early and hit it as hard as he could for a clean winner. See you do that for a whole set.
Game point. Oh, that angle.
Where was
Jimmy.
that angle? He was in the middle of the court. How did he come up with that?
That ball landed in the service box.
Incredible shots. Pavel has not played that badly so far in this match. And that's the disheartening thing when you're playing fine and you're down 4-love.
Incredible shots from Agassi with relative ease and regularity. 4-love Agassi.
Oh. 15-love.
Andrei Pavel, the last 2 years, has really taken his game to a different level, and we can see by the matches that he's won the last 2 years. You see he's had winning records, and between 91 and 97, he was 20 and 27. So it's been a huge.
Didn't play many
upturn.
Matches early.
Well, he played a lot probably in the Challengers and the Satellites, but those are official tour matches on the main tour.
40-love.
Pavel with a good serving game this time. Picked his spots on the first serve, and he has 3 game points.
Trying to get on the board, the Romanian. And get on the board he will. The 25-year-old raised his hand, said, all right, at least I'm on the board. It's going to take a lot more for him to get in this match because Agassi looking very sharp early. 4-1 to Andrei. Miss for their automobiles on wheels. Well, they got some other wheel-like automotive service going on downtown Stuttgart. The trams. Take you right to the Schleierhalle, where Agassi is putting on a clinic. 4-1 first set. On a big first serve, Agassi serving at 63% first serve percentage so far.
Beide. 15-0.
Agassi's improved that first serve this year. Used to spin so many serves in, just put the ball in play to start the point because he could rely on his ground strokes. And this year he's throwing in the heater more often, getting some free points as well.
30-15.
40-15.
Andrei Agassi has we talked about, who really turned his year way upward since that French Open after May 24th. 3 titles, of course, the French, the U.S. Open in Washington, which was just before the U.S. Open, 39-6. Ah, there's some nice touch from Pavel. Agassi hasn't won a tournament since the Open. He's played in 2 so far. This is his 3rd, Jimmy. He went out in the Grand Slam Cup to Tommy Haas. So you look at this nice drop volley from Pavel. And then in Basel, actually, which was right after the U.S. Open, he lost to
Kuchera.
Yeah.
That's during the indoor season, though, where Agassi historically hasn't played his best. In fact, his best result here in Stuttgart is just a quarterfinal finish. He's looking pretty good to
better
best that
here.
this year.
That was just his first ace from Agassi, bringing him to 5-1. It's Krajicek who beat him here last year indoors. Court not playing quite as fast, though, this year as it was. I think last year was very quick. And I think it's good because we see now, we have obviously the Krajiceks doing well here, but we also see Agassi playing well. We see Zabaleta, baseliner. We see Rios playing well on this surface. So they've evened the slate slightly by slowing the surface down here.
Well, we've seen better tennis as well. We've seen quite a few rallies, some good shot making, especially from Andrei Agassi today.
That's his 9th forehand winner. 15-all. Tell you, that relationship that Agassi now has with Steffi, dude, seems to be paying off in his efficiency in matches. Of course, Steffi was known for those 45-minuters. Yeah, get in and out quickly, and you can practice all you want.
See a good serve and volley from Pavel. He can mix it up a little bit, and he has to do that against Agassi.
And he's serving well. He's serving at 70%, Jimmy.
But the stat that really counts is that he's only 50% winning the point when he gets that first serve in.
Only made 4 errors as we look at the stats too, Pavel, in the match. And he's won 1 game.
Well, as I said, it's pretty disheartening when you're playing well and you're getting beaten as badly as he is. What's he going to think for the second set? I got to cut down on my 4 unforced errors.
Game points for Pavel to get to 5-2. And with his second ace, he does just that. So when we come back to our coverage from Stuttgart, Germany, Andrei Agassi will serve for the first set. He's looked real good so far. Mercedes Super 9, it's a Eurocard Open. Andrei Agassi serving for the set. This is the 8th Super 9 of the year. The next one will be, of course, next week in Paris at the Paris Open. And these Super 9s are so important, especially these last 2, because a lot of the players looking to get to the World Championships, the Tour World Championships in Hanover. And to do that, this is their last 2 big opportunities. There's one more event after Paris next week in Stockholm or Moscow, but these are where all the points are available. Agassi, as we mentioned, has not won a Mercedes Super 9 this year. We'll have to turn that around here. Here are the Mercedes Super 9 winners: Philippoussis, Krajicek on the hard courts in America, Kirten, Rios, who's playing well here, Kirten again in Rome, Johansson, the big surprise in Montreal, and Sampras in Cincinnati over Agassi.
And Agassi actually hasn't played well in Super 9s in a couple of years now.
Ace number 2 and triple set point for Andrei. The only 2 players coming into this week that had officially qualified were Agassi and Kafelnikov. Kirten is in there. Sampras, Todd Martin are all in great position. We have quite a few players battling. Players like Henman. That's actually topspin lob winner from Pavel there, so he's still alive, not quite 6-2 yet. Still 2 set points. Now it's 6-2.
That's Agassi.
Just had some good anticipation here. As
We knew what was coming.
6-1, 6-2.
Andrei and there's Steffi sitting next to Brad.
both of them looking pretty calm at this point in the match.
Second set, Pavel to serve.
Now this becomes a pretty important game for Pavel. He obviously cannot afford to get down a break early here in the second set. He's held serve comfortably the last 2 times he served. Agassi plays well from all positions, but especially well when he's leading.
Talking about the road to Hanover there, Agassi and Kafelnikov, and look at the bottom there. We have Henman in contention, although he's been struggling. Went out early here. Tommy Haas losing. Rios in 7th. He's solidified his chances. Martin's still alive. You also have Krajicek in there, who's at 11, and Enquist at 12, and both those guys alive here. So this is very big for them.
Well, and Rosetsky as well, who in these next couple of weeks, this is the time for him to shine, where he may be able to sneak into that top 8.
Well, obviously not going to let Pavel have an easy hold here.
Love 13.
Again, that forehand on the dead run from inside the service line. So much control Agassi has from that position.
Love 30. Just see Pavel really going for more than he likes to on that serve there. Tried that drop shot numerous times and hasn't worked once.
He's actually there for the shot. He needs to just go ahead and hit an approach shot and let Agassi attempt the pass, but he sees Agassi backed up and he's tried the drop shot. Can't seem to get it over the net, and now quickly love 40 to start this second set.
And Agassi all over the return again, just so eager. Agassi playing great defense, great offense. And Pavel is looking for answers. He's not going to find any today. 6-2, 1-love, Agassi. 6-2 and 1-love, and it certainly looks like we'll be seeing Agassi tomorrow as our coverage of the Eurocard Open continues tomorrow on ESPN2. 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Saturday is our coverage of this Eurocard semifinal. For more important tennis news and info, you can log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.
A couple of nice forehand returns Pavel's hit in this match, where he's really stepped in and done something with that forehand return.
Really hasn't been able to string together any big points, I mean any returns like that on the Agassi service games. So that's where I think there's such a difference this year in Agassi's game, and there was even a year ago, Jimmy, is his ability to get to that ball right there and play a good defensive slice.
Well, exactly right. His defense has gotten much better this year because physically he's much better. He's stronger, he's quicker.
I think he's committed so much more mentally. You know, he knows that he's going to fight for every point.
Andrei 15.
Textbook Agassi there, just
30-15.
opening up the court with each successive backhand cross court and then going with the down the line. Our match update, Agassi's serving in a very effective clip. 15 winners, just 6 unforced. Pavel 8 and 8. Certainly not poor numbers for Pavel, as we've been stressing. Agassi just on top of his game. Another ace, number 3.
We're having nice rallies, nice baseline rallies, a lot of good shots during the rally. But in the end, Agassi's the one who generally comes up the winner.
Game points.
You get the sense that Pavel just feels like he has to go for so much to win a point that eventually it caused him to make an error.
40-30, 40-30.
Well, Pavel kicking himself. He played the point perfectly until that volley.
The volley looked like he was thinking drop volleying at the last minute. Tried to hit it deep because he had Agassi in all kinds of trouble here, and then all of a sudden Agassi's there with a sitter backhand. The whole line open. Another look at it. Pavel could have hit a drop volley or could have stuck the volley. Instead, he just pushed it. I've hit a few foreign volleys like that, but
Got Pavel into all sorts of trouble. 2-love Agassi, second set.
Fifteen love.
Agassi just suffocates you, when he's playing like this, Jimmy. You just always know that he's going to hit the ball cleanly, hard, deep, move you.
that's a better volley from Andrei Pavel. Bit of a swing to that volley, but he took a short ball, got to the net. He's got to play extra aggressive. Really, the only players that have a chance against Agassi when he's playing this way are the Richard Krajceks and Greg Rosetsky's of the world that can get free points on their serve.
Agassi all over that serve. And
30-15.
been a roller coaster year for a lot of players. It's sort of how men's tennis is nowadays. You see Agassi going from 6 in the beginning of the year to 1. Kafelnikov 11 started out at, now he's 2, of course, winning the Australian. See guys like Martin making a big jump. Kiefer 35, now at 7.
Kierton making a big jump as well from 23 up to 5. Those are actually huge jumps. It's so tough to move up from those numbers.
What you don't see in that one are the guys that have really dropped, like like Rafter, like Moya, gone the other way, and a lot of the Spanish players. Alex Kodecha, Felix Mentilla. Game point, Pavel.
Agassi hits the ball so hard that when he does throw in that slice, Pavel seems to have a little bit of trouble with it. It's an off-speed ball that stays pretty low.
It's sort of a hack slice that Agassi employs, but is quite effective. Such great racket control, Agassi, that he can wield that racket pretty much any way he wants. And Pavel just happy to get on the board in the second set. He's struggling to win points. That's because the A train is rolling. A set and a break to Agassi. 2-1 second set. He's quarterfinal action of the Eurocard Open. From Stuttgart, Germany. As this year's incredible ride for Andrei Agassi continues here on the European swing to finish up the 99 year.
Pavel trying a new strategy all of a sudden at that point with all slice backhands. Didn't throw Agassi off one bit.
Ace number 4 for Agassi, who's been so solid with his serve today.
30 love.
Such a huge improvement in his game, as again our host broadcaster showing that serve dead smack on the line. 30 love.
40-0.
Agassi's so confident right now with the serve, going for first serves and hitting them consistently. As you see, 67% first serve percentage. 71% of the time he's won those points, but the big stat, 58% of the time he's won points when he's missed his first serve.
And if you can be anywhere above 50% with that number, Jimmy, you're doing excellent work with your serve, and to be around 60% is phenomenal.
Here's a great return. No swing at all, no backswing at all from Pavel. He's able to control it down the line. Agassi with a pseudo serve and volley. Thought he'd hit a good serve, so he snuck in. Got burned.
Still game point.
Spiel, Agassi.
Another big serve up the middle for Agassi. And another comfortable hold.
Agassi 3 times. He leads by 3 games to 1.
Agassi only losing 6 games in each of his first 2 matches against Philippoussis and Schalken. Looking like he may try to better that today. You know, the career, as we've seen over the years, excuse me, Jimmy, of Agassi has been one of the highs and the lows. Is he going to be able to continue this run that he's had this year into 2000 as the #1 player starting off next year?
Well, historically, he hasn't been able to put a couple of great years together in a row. Not great years together. He normally puts a great year together with a horrible year the next year, whether it's motivation or I actually think he gets tight. Suddenly, when he has a lot of points to defend for whatever reason, he seems to get tight and have a bad year, and then his ranking's low enough, he doesn't have any points to defend, he comes back strong. Every other year has been the pattern for Agassi. But I've never seen him this focused, this committed for an entire year.
So you think that pattern will change next year? I'm still trying to get you to answer this, Jimmy.
I can't really answer it. I have to tell you after about the first 2 weeks of the year, I'll be able to tell you.
Open? Okay. Triple break point for Agassi to go up 2 breaks here in the second.
15-40.
It's the first time in Agassi's career this year that he's hoping to finish, of course, at #1 in the year-end rankings. And it's also the first time that he's won 2 Grand Slams in the same year.
30-40. 30-40.
Certainly Pete Sampras will be motivated to reclaim #1 next year, as he really was playing the best tennis this summer before he got injured. That goes wide, and Agassi doing what's now becoming a sort of Patrick sprint to the sideline, and he's sprinting to the finish line here. He's 2 games away. Now looking to close out Andrei Pavel and reach the semifinals for the first time here in Stuttgart. Our friends at Lucent Technologies come up with this shot chart for us. Jimmy, and what does it tell us?
It tells us that when Agassi's winning points on his serve, he's standing right here during baseline rallies inside the baseline. Pavel doing pretty well, just a little bit behind. But Agassi, obviously, the more aggressive during the baseline rallies, and that's what's the difference.
First serve fault, second serve. Oh, there's Pavel hitting one from behind the baseline. But those are not ones you can rely on.
And that's been the problem for him in this match. Those are the ones he has to rely on to win. Agassi forcing him to hit great shots to win a point.
There's another great one up the line. Now, how come a guy like Pavel, Jimmy, he obviously must know this is going on. Why can't he say, okay, I'm going to stand inside the baseline and play in the way Agassi plays?
He just can't handle the heat of Agassi's ground strokes. It's a little bit bigger swing than Agassi has, so it takes him more time to produce it. He's doing a good job of trying to get close to the baseline, but just can't find a way to get inside.
Love 30.
That was an opportunity. A second serve for Pavel, and he really took a big cut at that forehand return. You can see the winners creeping up for Agassi, and the errors creeping up for Pavel. Another clean match for Andrei Agassi.
15-30. And the pace there, that's exactly what you're talking about, Jimmy. The pace from Agassi, Pavel needing a little time to create that shot, catches it just a little bit late, pushes it wide.
Very few guys that can hang in from the baseline with Agassi. Kafelnikov a few times over the years has been able to do it. But generally, when you get in baseline rallies with him, eventually Agassi's inside the baseline and you're stuck far behind.
Andrei, 40-30.
From love 30 to game point for Agassi.
Spiel, Agassi.
And there it is. Agassi, one game away now. 5-1 second set.
Agassi führt mit 5-1, he leads by 5 games to 1.
Good deep return of serve, sets up that inside out forehand. Pavel again getting stuck after the serve because Agassi takes the return so early you don't have time to get back.
11 forehand winners now for Agassi out of his total of 22.
Agassi doesn't use that play except when leading 6-2, 5-1.
Right.
The return and come to the net. He likes to take the return early, but then he retreats back to the baseline. You see some poor footwork there as he committed himself to the cross-court pass.
That's really the first shot, the first time we've seen all day Agassi go for the winner a little early in the point, a little too early.
Overhitting a bit just this last couple of points.
Maybe he wants that one more service game. Serve it out. 30-15. Oh, what a shot there, Jimmy. That is so tough to pull that one off.
So much pace on that overhead from behind the baseline off a mishit from Pavel.
Even Pavel saying, I think he said that's the first time I've ever seen that. That looked easy, but believe me, that's a very tough shot to hit.
40-30.
Pavel with his third ace.
14-30.
Agassi's picked the pace up this game somewhat. He's not too worried about errors.
Maybe he doesn't want to serve it out.
I think he just wants to hit not only winners, but impressive winners in this last game, going for a little more than normal.
Back to deuce.
You can see how eager Agassi is just to get to every ball.
He's really enjoying himself now, isn't he?
Agassi.
Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't, exactly.
When you know that pretty much everything you hit is going to turn to gold. Match point for Andrei.
Einstand. Huge.
Even that, a big serve from Pavel. More pace than normal. Right to the hip of Agassi. Normally an effective serve, and Agassi very nearly hit a clean winner.
Four time. Agassi.
There again, Agassi taking the time away from the Romanian. Match point number 2. Saves another one.
Huge.
Certainly been one of the better weeks for Pavel this week in Stuttgart, beating Melagini in 3, beating Kiefer, who retired at 6-5 in the first, and a straight set win over Vacek yesterday. Vacek had taken out Tim Henman. But just no match so far today for Agassi.
Four time. Agassi.
Certainly Agassi looking to finish this thing off.
Well, bad sign for Pavel when you can't win a point with Agassi at the net and you have all kinds of time on the pass. Agassi able to stab one volley back in play. Got himself a third match point.
Mercifully, it ends for Pavel as Agassi just on top of the game from the first point of the match. He had a clean winner on the return, Jimmy, and that set the tone, and it never changed.
Tremendous tennis from Andrei Agassi. Pavel really completely outmatched. Played probably as well as he could play, but Agassi just too good.
Andrei Agassi, 6-2, 6-1, moves into the semifinals for the first time here in Stuttgart. Looking for the winner of the Rios-Enquist match coming up later here in Stuttgart. So Andrei Agassi playing as well as he could play, and that's saying something. 2-1 over Pavel. We'll be coming back to Stuttgart with a lot more after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to Stuttgart, everyone, and our coverage of the Mercedes Super 9 and the Eurocard Open. Quarterfinals today, and Andrei Agassi cruising and really in devastating form today. 6-2, 6-1. Never faced a break point, did he, in that match? And Agassi moves into the semifinals. For the first time here in Stuttgart, he'll take on the winner of the Enquist-Rios match. Bottom half of the draw, Krajicek, Zabaleta, the surprising Argentinian, and Ruzetsky and Martin. And we're going to show you some of that match between Greg Ruzetsky and Todd Martin when we come back to the Eurocard. Big rematch of that U.S. Open match. Ruzetsky looking for a little revenge.